The players that I'm going to give to you, again, I know you had the stream with Gil. You also had the stream with what's the young man's name? JT, is that his name? JT. You guys mentioned years outside of the prime Shaq and all this other stuff. You guys also mentioned why was Shaq the guy that people go to this? And I believe exactly what Gilbert Arenas said. Tracy McGrady used Shaq because of Shaq. Because of Shaq's dominant force. There's only a few players in NBA history that we can state this with. Shaq's one of them. Jordan, LeBron, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at some point, right? These guys are impacting the game because they're just that dominant. Simple and plain. You put them around the good guys, good group of guys, you're going to win a championship. And that's what Shaq was. So this is what Shaq was doing during that span between 2000.
How long was Shaq at that point?
This is Shaq between 2000 and 2004. So this is after 99 season. So 2000. This is when him and Kobe were the two dynamic duos that they were under Phil Jackson's offense between 2000 and 2004.
Okay.
That's 5 seasons. And that's also what he did in the playoffs. Now, my stance was, again, because the whole argument is another thing too. The whole argument derailed because you Kobe fans can't take Kobe Bryant's name being mentioned unless we say it the way you guys want us to talk about it. But again, Kobe was phenomenal during this same span. I'm not taking that away from Kobe. You see the numbers. You see what he did. I said during this same span, Tracy McGrady is not only winning the 3 championships, he's probably winning more because he would take the second fiddle road that Kobe didn't want to take, that Kobe was so ready to relinquish from even before they even made the run. He didn't want to do it before they got on the run, and after he got on the run, he was ready to really get away from Shaq because he wanted to be his own player. He did not want to be called a Pippen for being a sidekick to Shaq, one of the dominant forces in league history. So he wanted to do it for himself, which we all know he did do that. But again, this is what we're talking about, 2000 to 2004. So when Shaq was this dominant, who can you replace Shaq with? Really nobody. There's no Shaquille O'Neal in this span. But I give you these players right here, Lo. Can you see these players, Lo?
Mm-hmm.
Right, you can see them? It's Allen Iverson. Now, this is the same span, 2000 to 2004. Allen Iverson, Vince Carter, Gary Payton, Jerry Stackhouse, Michael Finley, Ray Allen, Eddie Jones, Allen Houston, Paul Pierce. And this is the one where you can go in on me first if you want to and have fun with me, because this one I definitely did the troll y'all. And I would see how good I can debate this, but Jalen Rose.
Yeah, Lo, he's pretty much saying Shaq was so dominant, you can plug these players in and they would still three-peat. Like, that's the premise.
So why didn't Penny win with him?
Because the Shaq of 96 was the Shaq of 2000. This Shaq right
here. So let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers.
Didn't I tell you that? Mention that?
Shaq in 95. No, put the number. Put Shaq's numbers up.
Mm-hmm.
Shaq in 95 led the league in
scoring. Go from 94 and 96 with the 3 years.
I'm just asking 95. Shaq in 95 averaged more points than this stretch you're talking about. He averaged just as many rebounds, assists. He shot actually shot better from the field as well. And he went in the postseason. He averaged 26, 12, and 3. Why didn't they win?
Because Shaq still wasn't the same Shaq. This Shaq was better.
Okay. So what are you?
This is again. You're comparing a 5-year span to a 1-year span. This is 5 years we're talking about, Lo.
How was he better? How was he better?
The 2000 Shaq to 96. Compare those two. Go ahead.
How was 95? How was 2002 Shaq noticeably better than 95 Shaq?
I didn't go to 2002. Lo, don't be a Kobe Bryant
fan.
How
was 2002? How 2002, 3, and 4 Shaq better than 95 Shaq?
Again, they won in 2002, so they lost in 2003 and 2000.
How was he better? How was Shaq better in between 2002, 3, and 4 than he was in 95?
Because Shaq had developed all of his skills and the maturity level to play the game at the right. But he knew how to turn on the switch by that time. He knew how to play his game. He had a system that worked well with him. He knew exactly what to do while he's under Phil Jackson's system. You got to remember that.
He was also heavier. He was heavier.
Oh, yes. It's also the fact that the reason we have this Shaq that you see here on the screen is due to Phil Jackson's ability to bring that out of Shaq. So I ask you again, Lo, can you please bring
the Shaq that's on the screen is very similar to the Shaq in 95 if you're just looking at numbers, Ajani.
Wrong. Peace and blessings. Welcome to GOAT James Kingdom.
Now, Lowe's approach was tactical, but it was not enough. Again, the conversation is about Shaquille O'Neal in the 2000s. They keep trying to veer out of that. Then he tried to bring up Shaq between 2002 to 2004 and ignored Shaq MVP season in 2000. So Lowe's question is, why didn't Penny Shaq win championships like the 2000 Shaq? Being that the Shaq of Penny had the same numbers as the Shaq of the 2000s, which is completely incorrect. If we look at the difference between the two players, we can clearly see the difference. He asked, how did Shaq win in the 2000s and not in the 90s? Well, it's clear because the Shaq in the 2000s was more dominant in the playoffs. The difference is the playoff Shaq. And we can clearly see that the 2000 Shaq was better than the Penny Shaq by the numbers, which is what he asked. So even by my eye test and by the numbers, Shaq was better in the 2000s. Again, this is a 5-year span, Lo. You're not bringing up a 5-year span. Bring me up.
I'm
telling you
I'm bringing up a year where he played with someone that's better than a lot of the names that you just named, and he didn't win.
Again, you're bringing up the time at a time that he was not the same Shaq. The Shaq of 2000s were better than the Shaq of 96.
Why?
Because you're using 1 year. You're not again.
I'm asking the year that he played. There's a year in which he played with an All NBA caliber player, and he's posting up numbers that were better than most of the years that you're referring to. Why is it that they couldn't win then?
Because it wasn't that Shaq.
But what makes him not that Shaq?
I just told you, Phil Jackson's triangle offense and the system that forced Shaq to be the dip. Again, so you think that when Phil Jackson no. I would kick all you guys out to let me and Lo have this conversation, please. People want to hear me.
Go ahead.
It's one-on-one.
It's Lo and I. We're having a great conversation. You think that Phil Jackson didn't give Shaq and regimen understanding of what he was going to do, how he was going to do, and what was going to take to help them get over the hump so that they could win a championship in 2000?
That's if you're gonna say coaching is the difference. That's fine.
That's part of it. That's why I use 2000 and 2004 because the part of it is that once you get that Shaq with Phil Jackson, that's why they could win it all the way. So you're only replacing Kobe again. If Kobe's injured, they're not winning because you're not replacing Kobe. I'm just saying you have to replace Kobe with somebody who can do what Kobe was doing at that time, which was basically being their fourth quarter scorer and basically playing good defense for them as well. And just being a solid player across the board. Like I said, we look at Kobe's numbers, 26, 5 and 5 is nothing to shy over. That's incredible. 5 all NBA teams, 5 all defensive teams, 3 first teams on both sides of the ball. So Kobe was a baller. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm just saying that as dominant as Shaq was for those 5 years, which you refused to go get the 3 years he played with Penny, and you've been doing this for a while. You've been arguing around here, lying to people about Kobe and definitely disrespecting Shaq, but you won't go get Penny and Shaq numbers for those 3 years.
Well, Shaq came in the league averaging 23, 94, 95, and 96. Though that's a 3-year stretch. Shaq was averaging 28, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. So there's a 3-year stretch of Shaq where I can, without a doubt. Why you go do that? And why
you go do that? I got to ask you this because I asked Herm this. He got upset with me. I don't know why he got upset with me. Since it's because of Kobe as well, because you said he would win one with Tracy McGrady, if that, and all these other guys. So okay, let me ask you this: if he's not winning 3 with these guys, is there any one of these guys he could win 3 with, or none of them?
I don't. My issue with the three-peating is that I think that there's a lot that goes into three-peating beyond just looking at numbers. Like Shaq himself wasn't really that motivated to also three-peat either. So that you would have to like find someone who would also be motivated enough to do those things. Also, you said that Kobe wasn't willing to be a sidekick. Why did Tracy McGrady leave Toronto?
He left Toronto because for one, they were not trying to make him anything in Toronto. They kept him on the bench. He said he didn't like the coach, and if I'm correct, shortchanged, he got more money in Orlando, and he was playing at home, and he was going to play with Tim Duncan and Grant Hill, so he was willing to play second fiddle easily.
Well, Tim Duncan was later on. That wasn't. And Grant Hill at that time was going to be more of a passer. If I am not mistaken, I think he's come out of his mouth and said that he did not want to play. He did not want to be a sidekick and not want to play second fiddle to his cousin.
We had this conversation the other day about that because for my part, my partner B. Lee thinks the same thing you think, that he doesn't think that he would be a good sidekick to Shaq because he was jealous of Vince Carter. He would definitely be jealous of Shaq. But we went and found the clip of T-Mac saying that no, he had nothing to do with Vince Carter at all. It was basically Toronto's the way they ran their organization, how they shortchanged him, and he said, and overall, he got paid in Orlando, and he was going to play at home. That's what he said.
So why wouldn't he do the same thing? Why wouldn't he have left LA? Because also in the beginning of LA, he wouldn't have played either because he was coming off the bench as a rookie because he was a high school player just like Kobe. And then there were also several.
Kobe was starting by 99. Kobe was playing by 99.
I know, but Tracy McGrady. You think Tracy McGrady by 99 was good enough to start?
Yeah, that's what he was upset about. He was definitely good enough to start. He wasn't put in a bad position.
So why wasn't he that good when he started in 2000?
He was good. He averaged 26 points per game or something like that.
No, he didn't. His last year in Toronto, he averaged 15 points.
No, you said when he went to Orlando. As soon as he went to Orlando, he lost.
Well, let me repeat.
Yeah, he came off the bench. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he came off the bench. He played like 30-something games.
In Orlando, he started 34. They went to the playoffs. He started those 3 games in the playoffs as well. And he was terrible in the playoffs in those 3 games. So why is it that? So he's going to get a starting role. They were already starting him in Toronto. They were already starting him. Well, no,
that's what I'm saying. They didn't give him that promise. They would have told him that. Remember, they even fired Butch Carter, so he didn't have no promise in it. It wasn't a well-run franchise. They didn't promise him anything. He went and found out what was best for him, and Orlando basically to him gave him the best deal to leave. More money. Right, the franchise was handed to him. He was going to have his sidekick in Grant Hill for sure, and they were going to get Doc Rivers. I think with Doc Rivers, I don't know, he probably was there still, but probably were there before they got there. But yeah, he did not leave because he didn't want to be a sidekick.
There was no coach in LA in '99. They had fired Dale Harris. They brought in Kurt
Rambis.
Yeah. So Dale Harris notoriously was not playing any young players.
That's true.
So again, I'm saying if we go into the summer of '99 and he's a free agent or he's looking to be moved, why would he not? Why would he not be looking to move if you're in a situation that isn't promising to pay you, doesn't have a coach yet, doesn't have a structured coach in Phil Jackson yet? Why would he not just move as well?
Well, you got to remember, Dale Harris didn't play Kobe a lot because Kobe wouldn't follow the system. Kobe kept playing outside of the system. He kept taking up shots that he was not supposed to take. So Kobe got benched not just because of Dale Harris' refusal to play rookies. Kobe was playing like a rookie. He was playing outside of a professional basketball player. He couldn't understand that there's ways to do this. He had to take his time. And it took Phil Jackson because, again, as soon as they hired Phil Jackson, that's the first thing he told Kobe, this is Shaq's team. You're the second option.
So why did Kobe under Dale Harris, that last year Dale Harris, he played 50 games, started all 50 games, and was an all-NBA player? Why is that?
Yeah, because Jerry West drafted Kobe to be that guy. So he eventually had to make that role. But like I said, you talk about him. Like I said, you said, hold on. You said that they would not start Tracy McGrady in his second year in '99. Yes. Is that what you're saying?
Okay. I'm saying his first 2 years. His first 2 years. Why would they start?
His first 2 years. Okay. His first 2 years in '99, he would have not gotten the start. Again, we're not talking about '99 Tracy McGrady. We're talking about 2000 Tracy McGrady and on. In '99, Kobe was a starter. Tracy McGrady wasn't a starter. Even in 2000, Tracy McGrady wasn't a starter. But that's what I'm trying to explain to you. When Tracy McGrady's on a team with Shaq and in an organization with Jerry West as the guy who's promoting you, because that's what he would do, because he would have been the one that drafted Tracy McGrady. So he's able to develop like Kobe was able to develop. The only difference is that Kobe's mentality is, I can do this now. Kobe was 19 at 20. He was basically, Kobe was a 19-year-old with a 25-year-old mind. In his mind, I'm ready. I'm here. I'm there. He didn't get it yet. It took him some time. And that he was able to do that because, for one, they had a Eddie Jones, they had a Van Exel, which they got rid of those guys as well because it was a lot of turmoil with the Lakers. They were trying to really build a championship roster. They were trying to figure out who's going to do what. And they knew Kobe was going to be that guy because Jerry West kept saying that. Because remember, when Phil Jackson said to trade Kobe, he had to go to Jerry West. And Jerry West said, no, let's be patient with this young man. And then you should be patient. Kobe is a talent that you should be patient with. But you have Shaq.
So I'm assuming you're also saying that the 2000 Tracy McGrady also isn't good enough. So which version?
No. Not that Tracy McGrady is still good enough. Because remember, Kobe only averaged 22 in 2000. And
T-Mac averaged 15 in
15 all coming off the bench. That's what I'm saying. And T-Mac is going to start on the Lakers. He's not going to be put on the bench with Phil Jackson, the system, and all that talent. That remember, they were going to draft T-Mac to replace Scottie Pippen. So Phil already knew how good T-Mac was.
That doesn't what evidence that you have that in 2000 he would have been good enough to average 22 and be
coming
all
off. Okay, so if you go look at their per 36 numbers, I believe Tracy McGrady was around 18 points per game, and Kobe was about 21 points per game.
What was he doing as an actual starter when he was actually starting? What was he doing?
Oh yeah, we can go. You can look at those. I never looked up those numbers, but that's great. Bring up those numbers. Now I do know that he had about, if I'm correct, about 10 or 12 games over 20 points, something like that. If I'm correct, he didn't score nothing over 30 that year. I did look up that information. You can find him. He did start like 30 something games.
So
but a lot of those games he started in, he did do well. Go look at the numbers. He did. I looked up the most minutes games he's played that season. He did well. Again, there's nothing. Again, we have to stop this. The reason Kobe is great.
I'm just trying to figure out which version of T-Mac you're referring to.
You don't have to figure it out, brother. Open up your eyes, clear your glasses, do something. Figure it out. It's in your face. 2000 to 2004, brother. They're winning 4 or more. Because he's not going to be upset that Shaq's helping him win 3 championships like Kobe was.
Well, why? But why do you believe? So you think that T-Mac will be motivated enough to also motivate Shaq to finish the 3-peat? Because Shaq wasn't even motivated enough to do the 3-peat.
Shaq was. They did it.
No, he wouldn't. No, yeah, actually, Shaq himself has openly admitted that he wasn't. Mm-hmm. Shaq himself openly admitted that during the regular season he would coast, that he would coast, and he did not need to play as hard as he needed to. Shaq himself said that.
Yeah, that's true, and they still won 3-peats, right?
Okay, so you're saying, how would Shaq stay motivated enough? I'm asking you, do you think T-Mac will be able to motivate Shaq enough to stay engaged enough to finish a 3-peat?
Yeah, enough to where Phil Jackson could do his job, because it's really Phil Jackson's job to motivate Shaq, not the teammates. Shaq was loved and beloved by his teammates, so they all loved Shaq. Shaq made it easy on everybody.
Shaq himself openly admitted that Derek Fisher wasn't the one motivating Shaq to. What are we saying?
Again, they had the Ron Harper, Rick Fox. They had a whole team full of veterans.
Those were not the people that were challenging Shaq. Also, I got the numbers. In the 30 games that T-Mac started, he averaged 17 points. He shot 43% from the field and 32% from behind the arc and 75% from the free throw line.
Okay. So he averaged 17. And how many minutes is that?
38.
So he played 38 minutes per game, averaged 17 in the 30 game. Okay, that's good. I still think that's good enough because T-Mac had the ability to do the things that he had to do. So he was, again, he's not.
What though? What evidence is there?
This is the evidence. What did Kobe Bryant do, Lo? What was the things that Kobe Bryant did to help the Lakers win 3 championships for them to have the 3?
We're going year by year. So in 90 and in the 99-2000 season,
yes,
that year for them to win, Kobe was averaging more points, more rebounds, more assists. So what exactly what's the evidence that in the year 2000 T-Mac will be ready to win if he's a worse player than Kobe?
Shaquille O'Neal.
If that is your answer, that's fine. I think that's
no, because I just want to make sure because you asking a question when I keep explaining to you that Shaq is the dominating factor that you keep ignoring and you're disrespecting. Shaq would make Tracy McGrady better than an 18 point per game score, like he made Kobe a 22 point per game score, because Shaq makes the game easier. And with the triangle offense and Shaq, Tracy McGrady is playing better than what he did in Toronto because he's playing with Shaq.
So if we go watch the footage, especially in the playoffs when they matched up against the Knicks, and T-Mac in the playoffs that year as a starter, T-Mac in the playoffs that year against the Knicks when they got swept, he averaged 16, 17 points and shot 38% from the field and 29% from behind the arc. If and I want to be very mindful to people, we pulled up footage of McGrady even when he was in Orlando. He would have one-on-one scenarios and he would just miss. So if we pull up footage of McGrady playing with Vince, you're telling me he's not getting adequate enough looks to be a better producer than that?
I didn't say he would get adequate. He's not getting the looks he's getting with Shaq.
I'll repeat what I said again. You don't think that he's getting adequate enough looks to be a better producer than 17 points per game on those shooting splits?
I will repeat myself again, Lo, because you're avoiding Shaq, not like he would with Shaq.
No. Right now, I'm trying to establish how good do you think T-Mac was in 2000?
As good as Kobe was in 2000.
How? How do you know that?
Because they have the same skill sets. They have the same abilities.
What lets you know that? You're a numbers guy. You are the numbers guy. So
I just
what numbers in the year 2000 let you come to that conclusion? What numbers?
The numbers that tell me that, okay, is the fact that he came off the bench at averaging 15 points per game, 31 minutes per game, and he was not playing alongside Shaq in the triangle offense that would have assisted his ability to score more. Tracy McGrady was a good basketball player. He was, first of all, a scorer first. So that's you're never really going to take that from Tracy. Everything else he has to develop in the game. We all know he eventually get a chance to develop. So like I said, I'm putting him on Shaq's team in 2000. He didn't have the luxury to be like Kobe to play and develop his game behind all of that. But I'm just going to put him on 2000. If he's the starter on the Lakers with Phil Jackson as the system, he can average the 20 to 22 points or the 22 points Kobe's averaging at 2000. Because as soon as he went to Orlando the next year and was given that option, he went to averaging 27 to 26 points per game.
That's a first option though.
But that's what I'm saying.
No one doesn't know the development that happened in between then and now to make that assessment. There's actual games that this man played in the year 2000 as a second option. And I'm not even saying he has to play as good as Kobe or put up similar numbers than Kobe, but he shot worse from the field and produced fewer points while playing similar minutes as well. So if you're going off of, which a lot of this is a hypothetical of what you think he might have been at that point in time based off of your feelings, which I find very ironic from you. You are the main person who always says that you go off numbers, that you utilize what's in front of you. This man played, he started 34 games and then went in the playoffs and started. So you are the one who always goes off of numbers. There's irrefutable evidence of this man starting games. So what evidence are you using? If you want to say 2001, 2002, have at it. I don't think that would really change much of anything. My thoughts on who's a better player between Kobe and T-Mac. But if you believe that T-Mac would be able to motivate Shaq, which I don't think so either, because there would have to be a lot of evidence. There's a lot of evidence pointing in the opposite direction that T-Mac himself openly admitted that he was not a heavy practicer. He was not someone who went hard at practice. He's not someone that routinely did the things in which Kobe did. That's another thing. T-Mac himself, T-Mac himself admitted.
Wow.
T-Mac himself admitted.
Wow.
So I need to know, how are you jumping to these conclusions about who he was in 2000? And also I need to understand, where is the evidence and proof that you're getting that T-Mac would be the same person that would motivate Shaq enough to not just a three-peat, but more, because you're saying now let's finish it off.
You gave him the three. You gave him 01, 02, and 03, correct?
No. I don't play this hypothetical game that you niggas play.
You do play.
No, I don't. No, I do
not. You call it expectations. Continue.
That's not what. How's that hypothetical?
Your expectation, sir, is a hypothetical. Continue. It's just a hypothetical of the future. Continue.
Do you know what the definition of a hypothetical is?
Yeah, a made-up scenario. It's made up. Go look it up. It's still the same thing. Your expectations of Boston being a championship this year, was that correct? Was that reality? Was it real? No, it was false. It was an expectation. It was a hypothetical based off your belief, based off of something you have nothing to hold on to.
That is true by definition, Lo.
No. Expectations is.
Hold on, no. Before you defer, no. This is my stream. I let you cook, and I'm gonna cook you now. And while you go read the definition and set yourself up for that, I'm answering. No. You're not gonna answer, because I gotta answer your question first. Before you do that, I gotta answer you.
What is the question you're answering?
About T-Mac in 2000.
Okay.
What did I see from T-Mac's game? And you lying about T-Mac. Okay. So what I saw from T-Mac, when he left Toronto to go to Orlando, he didn't develop.
That's not 2000. That's not 2000. 2000, his last year in Toronto.
Okay, I get that. We're talking about 2000. The difference between, I'm trying to explain to you why the 2000 T-Mac will still win the championship alongside the MVP Shaquille O'Neal Lakers in 2000. Because that's what you failed to realize. At the end of the day, we're talking about Shaq at the best of his peak. Your boy Kobe ain't helping nothing there. You lied and said T-Mac wasn't interested in working out. Well, That's also a lie. You also brought up his playoff performance in 2000, but
prove that. No, stop. Prove that. Prove what I'm saying is a lie.
I'm about to prove it to you. Just give me.
No, stop. Prove
when you guys first got to know each other as teenagers, did you recognize right away you were kind of kindred spirits in the way you approached the game?
Well, yeah, but he was freakishly more athletic and taller than I was,
and I had to get his work ethic because I was a little bit more reserved and never been around somebody work as hard as he did. And I learned that from him. Yeah, I had the athleticism, but the work ethic part I had to get from being around him.
So how old were you when you guys met?
I think I was 18, he was 19.
Right, because you're a year ahead.
Yep. Yeah, this is when I knew, okay, he likes to play mind games, and he always trying to get an edge on whoever, his opponents, whatever. I don't care if I'm his friend, whatever. Right. So, I told him, I said, I'm about to go work out. And he was like, what are you going to work out for? You're in the off season. Like, you don't need to work out. And I'm looking at him like, okay. So, all right, go back to my room, change.
Take it easy.
Chill for a minute. I go to the weight room. Who's in there? This dude. This dude. And I'm looking like, what? Okay. So I had to start taking notes like, this dude right here. So he's always going to have an edge on somebody.
He had a hard time understanding what sarcasm was. Right. I was just being sarcastic. But I remember in the playoffs, you guys were playing the Milwaukee Bucks in 1 year. And me and Vanessa went out to lunch and went to a restaurant. And they had TVs in a restaurant. I remember sitting there and watching. I mean, you just were cooking big dog. I mean, just like, I think you called him Puppy Dog, was it?
Puppy Dog.
And I remember sitting in the restaurant watching that and telling V, I said, man, that dude's the real deal. He's made it. I mean, we started out like as youngins together, but I remember feeling like such a sense of joy because of what he was doing. So even though I've never actually told him that, there was a sense of pride. And that's as mushy as I'm going to get.
You're going to learn today.
Now, before you respond, I'm not done. So
I have on my screen if you want to show them that.
Hold on, wait.
I have on my screen.
And listen, I heard Kobe praise him in 2001 playoffs. Although he lost, he said he played well. I was proud of him. I heard him say that Kobe told him, you don't got to work out. Who does that? And what did T-Mac go do? Go work out. After Kobe, his friend, told him, you don't need to go work out. Where did he meet Kobe at? The gym. Because that's where he was going to go work out. So he had the work ethic. He was going to be drafted by Jerry Krause to replace Scottie Pippen. We're talking about T-Mac, a high school phenom. 6'7", 6'8", wingspan, all the athleticism, all the skill level, left hand, right hand. He had the skill. You ask me, where do I'm getting this from? Because the stats say he had the skill. And as soon as he went to Orlando and became the number one option, like I said, if he would have came the number two option with Shaq, which is like being a number one option, it's actually easier than being a number one option. Because the number one option has everything game plan towards you. You heard Kenyon Martin and them say, we only game plan towards the main guy. We're not doubling Kobe. We're doubling Shaq. So he's getting doubled in Orlando and proving you wrong because Kobe Bryant, your favorite player of all time, said that Tracy McGrady was that dude in 01. And I'm telling you, he was that dude in 2000, but he wasn't allowed to be that. The same way Kobe wasn't allowed to be the dude until Shaq had to leave. That's why he said, Shaq, get out of here. I need you to leave to show I can show people that I'm doing this. Because even when Kobe was averaging 30 points per game in 2003, they lost. And we have a bunch of Zesty Jeffries and a bunch of Kobe Bryant fans lying on 2003 Shaq when it was obviously Kobe's the reason why they win, but he could win in 2003. Prime Kobe, better than Penny, better than Tracy, better than anybody. And he lost with Shaq out here jacking up 38 shots for 37 points. Out here jacking up 1 for 7 in fourth quarter clutch games. Then y'all want to blame Shaq. Have somebody here tell me Shaq wasn't his self low because he scored 24 and 21 rebounds. That's not normal Shaq. He's supposed to be more dominant than that. So Kobe could win a championship as the lead dog. When he was the lead dog in 03 and 04, the Lakers lost. That's facts. So when Kobe's the sidekick and playing his role, Shaq wins. The players I mentioned are going to play the sidekick and play their role. So again, Tracy McGrady in 2000 would do enough for Shaq MVP season to still be a champion, and he wouldn't run Shaq out of town by 2004. That's my stance. Now bring up the hypothetical definition and Tracy McGrady's words.
Damn! Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
Okay, you have some skill.
And I know this is going to look like we're destroying everything. Don't worry about it. We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents.
Wow.
Welcome to GOAT James Kingdom, where basketball lives forever. Here in GOAT James Kingdom, we attack the GOAT debate head on, where we challenge all Michael Jordan fans and all LeBron detractors to who is the GOAT of basketball. You can catch us every Sunday noon Eastern Time, right here on the GOAT James Kingdom channel, for the GOAT James Kingdom show with B. Lee and Ajani. Also, we go live Friday nights with the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer, where you catch special shows and content as a GOAT James Kingdom follower and subscriber. Also, check out the GOAT James Kingdom membership, where you can get exclusive content